when the going gets hard, that's exactly when you know that what you're doing will make you win, right? Will make you successful. What you know you're doing will make you win. So, I want to touch on that. Again, I'm just trying to document everything that comes to mind. I'm trying to document every single day of my life, build a show, find my voice, and build a reputable and successful personal brand. And so, what I want to address today is how, when you do stuff that sucks, you know that you're on the right path. So I'll give you an example. Me, myself, right? I work a job. I work 60 hours a week, and I'm still trying to grind online business. I got personal brands going. I got YouTube channels. I got AI agencies. I got Facebook ads. I got everything. I got the whole rigmarole. And my free time is limited to 0. This is why I'm recording this in the car right now, because I realized every single day, my full day, I have like a 20-minute commute there, to and there. And this is a perfect time to just talk, to just document whatever I can do. But I'm going to tell you this. I would rather be listening to my music right now. I would rather be listening to a podcast, to an audiobook, than to be holding my phone and recording as I drive home from work. But that hardness, that hardship, that discomfort is what's going to bring me success later. And I'm not saying this in a way where it's just I am the know-all, be-all, and I know everything. At the end of the day, right, this is universal law, right? You hear this from so many people. As one of my mentors said, if you see something time and time again, if you see the same attributes from, successful people you want to model, you hear the same things, then that's something that you should take note of. And if you haven't heard time and time again that, success and growth only come from discomfort, what does that tell you, right? That's a law you should follow. That is a law of universal success. Now, for me, myself, again, I work, there's not a spare minute, okay, maybe a minute, but there's not a spare half hour that I have where I'm not doing something productive, where I'm not doing something that is pushing me towards the goal that at the end of the day I want. Now, it sucks, right? It's as soon as I get home, though, what I would rather be doing is eating sugar, laying on the couch, listening to music, scrolling, watching TV, whatever that may be. But after a 12-hour shift today, after a 12-hour shift, I'm still recording on my phone. I'm going to go home. I'm going to hop on with some of my business partners. We're going to do work until I have to go to bed at 9 o'clock and just barely get my 8 hours of sleep when I have time to journal, when I have time to eat, shower, stuff like that. But I know that this is going to bring me success, and I'm already seeing remnants of this success. I'll give you guys an example. Right? I want to be as transparent as I can, but at the same time, I also don't want to, expose everything I make and expose everything that I'm selling, that I'm, the cost that I'm accruing to do this, right? Facebook ads, I'm doing quite a bit a month on that, but, with my job, it's funding it, and that's okay. That's in my budget. But anyways, this month, gross profit. So, I've made, I made $6,600 last month, but at the end of the day, that wasn't profit, right? That was revenue. That was split between me and my teams. That was split with costs, developers, all that. So at the end of the day, that $6,600 turned into less. I can't give a round number, but it's not $6,600. Now this month, right? I'm starting some new things. I'm starting some stuff in info. This month, I'm on track for like $700, $800 gross profit. So I've made a lot of money, but I'm able to keep $800 this month. Now, that is a huge step for me. I've been in this for like 3 years now. It doesn't really excite me because at the end of the day, I need to be making, around $5,000 per month before I can truly live my dream life, or at least start living it and put action forward to get me in the proper position for that. But $800, man, like $800 is no chump change. And I'm making this with, not much work put in at all. It's, Alex Ramosi talks about it. You want to have stuff that you create once that you can sell many times over, right? That's a high leverage, high income, high profits, asset of business. So within that, right, I spent maybe, it was like a day and a half, and I made $800 this month. And this is a reoccurring thing too. Right? This isn't like $800 and I'm done. I could easily make $800 next month. I could easily make $1,000 next month. But you think that day I spent, that day and a half I spent just researching and creating and documenting my knowledge on this subject, and recording videos and editing it and setting up communities and learning how to set up communities, grouping it in a proper way, setting up a community outside of the community where I could set up other things for them to interact, right? Social interaction. Humans are social creatures. The tribe, I forget what exactly they call it, but we grew up in tribes, right? Having that social aspect will further greater your success within the community. Do you think I wanted to spend those 2 days learning all about that, setting all of that up, right? That's one of the least, optimal things that not optimal, it's one of the least things I wanted to do. At the end of the day, it is very optimal, right? Because I set that up and I made $800 this month because of it. But it was boring, right? I could have been doing so many other stuff, and in this day and age, it's so easy to do those things. But that discomfort proved $800 worth at least that was worth my time. And that's not just for anything. Look at the gym, right? Do you think, it becomes a habit after a while, but between sitting on the couch and eating junk food to, going to the gym and exercising, putting your body through discomfort for an hour and a half, between those choices, what do you think historically would win over time if left unchecked, right? Obviously, you got habits, you got aspects that make, the action what it is, right? And make it win over time. But left unchecked, right? Just to the raw value, just to the bare minimum of those two, what do you think is going to win out? And so that hard stuff, right? That stuff that you don't want to do, that is on the other side of success, right? Comfort and, taking the path of least resistance does not equate to success. And again, I'm not saying this just because, Liam, you're so wise. This is stuff you hear time and time again. This is stuff from great thinkers that I've heard time and time again, that I've heard, reiterated to me. And so it's a lot of stuff to do with that. And I'm sure that there's so many there's so many times in your life that you can, see this too. I know for me, I'm a very good badminton player and I've won some really big competitions for it. But I've spent hours and hours and hours of training. And again, left unchecked, what do you think is going to win? An hour of sports training or an hour of playing video games and eating sugar, right? So it all stems back to that. And that hard work, the stuff that you don't want to do, that is the only side of success, right? This is the only, grass is greener on the other side. Success makes that grass greener, right? If there's a barrier between the green grass and the not green grass, that is going to be hard work. That is going to be the stuff that you don't want to do, right? But I don't want to sound like a broken record. You kind of get the gist. Again, I'm just trying to document everything, all the aspects I've learned. This is a really big aspect. This is probably one of the most universal ones. It's very vague in general. So a lot of stuff can be encompassed within this, but in a very general sense, on the generalist of senses, this is one of the most important aspects of success. It's one of the most important aspects that the success I've seen so far, right? Albeit maybe, it hasn't been much compared to other people, but there's still success, right? $800 this month, that is pure tangible evidence. And so, yeah, again, I'm just trying to document my journey, everything that I find helpful, on this path to entrepreneurship. With all that being said, that's it for today. If you guys enjoy this, if you guys want to follow my journey, I'm making online money, going to make $1 million here very soon. You can drop a follow, you can drop a subscribe if you're listening to this. You can subscribe to whatever you're listening to this on. With that, really appreciate it. Really appreciate everything within that. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. And above all, stay wise.